Good morning or good night, depending on where you are, and welcome to another album review of The Shield Doing a Couch. I'm your host, Hector, and today I'm joined again by Señorita Sabrosura. Hi, Señorita.
Hi, Hector. How are you?
I'm good, and we're here to talk about the latest album by a band that we both love, the Smashing Pumpkins, and it's called Atum, a rock opera in 3 acts. And this is the first act of a free album. So it's 3 albums or like one album, 3 acts divided, like if you want to call them EPs or whatever. So the first album came out this week. The second part comes out in January 31st. And then the third act on April 21st, I believe.
Yes.
And it's 33 songs and it's an hour and 38 minutes of music. So we all know that Smashing Pumpkins have never been shy to release full length like concept albums. And we're here to talk about, and today it's gonna be different. We're not just gonna talk about the tracks, we're gonna talk about the story of this album in particular. So Señorita, like what were your initial reactions to listening to this first?
I was afraid because he said it was the sequel of Mellon Collie, but also a sequel to Machina,
Mm-hmm.
the Machines of God. Like Mellon Collie and Infinite Sadness is like part one, and then the Machina part two, and Autumn is part three.
Yeah.
Uh, And to be honest, I have like zero expectations. Like I was afraid, like, I don't know if you can continue recapture what you wrote all those years ago. But to be honest, because I had no expectations and I was maybe expecting not to be good, I was surprised. Uh, I wouldn't call it a sequel to those albums, but it's not a bad album, but it's not their best work. Like I thought it was gonna be because he was telling so much that it was a sequel to those albums. Um, like it, I thought it was gonna be like a return to form because with Sir, he said he wanted to make like a modern contemporary album, like
Yeah.
more contemporary sound. So I understand, I get it, and he did it. Like it's very contemporary but very modern Sir. So I thought, okay, now they're gonna return to their form, to their original sound. And what's incredible to me, like there's so many bands that they struggle to find their sound for so many years, and they found it years ago. Like, why don't you go back to that sound or keep exploring? Is like I don't know, I don't know
Yeah.
if you get it. Like,
Yeah, this is the problem with this. When you call something like a sequel to Melancholy, which is a classic album, and
it's one
Machina,
of the greatest albums of the 90s.
yeah, and Machina is a great album too. This is the problem with that. By Billy Corgan doing that, you create expectations out of fans,
Mhm.
and probably like you, fans were expecting like, oh, they're gonna do something like if it's gonna be like a follow up to Melancholy, it's gonna be like an album like that. It's gonna have like guitars and distortion but experimentation because Melancholy had that experimentation with the electronics. But for me, this sounds more like a follow-up to Sir.
Yes.
If I'm being honest, like when I started listening to it, I'm like, why are you calling it a follow-up? And we'll touch upon the story shortly.
Yeah.
Another thing that I thought that was kind of odd was that the first single that they released like a month ago was for the song Beguiled,
And it's
and
not
that
there.
song is not on the first act. And when the album came out on Tuesday,
And
I was like this is strange. They released a single, and the
it's not
single's not
there.
on this part. So
But I think they did it on purpose because
yeah,
they know that song it's a little better.
yeah, they Billy
But
Corgan
my
told us.
problem it's this new album, these new singles, everything. It sounds for me almost too perfect, too pretty. Like, come on, you have one of the greatest drummers you can have, and you're wasting him, and you're relying like on a boring, bland drum machine,
Yeah. I just imagine Jimmy
like.
Chamberlain like sitting there like, why the fuck am I in the band? like
Mhm.
like use
It
me. Yeah.
sounds very, very basic. And they should realize, for me, that one of the greatest things about Smashing Pumpkins is the crunchy guitars, the texture, the layers, the changes, and the aggressive in the drums. Um, why are you not doing that?
Yeah, I know what you mean. So now let's geek out a little bit with the story. Because I was first of all, if you want to know more about this album, Señorita Sabrosura sent me today. There's Billy Corgan is doing like a podcast that it's called 33, since it's 33 songs, and on each episode they're talking about one song in particular. So the story of Autumn, Act One of it's like a rock opera. The main character, he's the character that was in Mellon Collie. His name was Zero. Then the name changed. I don't know if in Machina it changed to another name.
Yeah, it
And
changed
then
to the name is Glass,
Glass. It was Zero. Then it was Glass. And
and now
now
it's Shiny.
the is Shiny. And actually, this character was introduced when on 2018, because of time constraints and the tour, they did the Shiny and also Bright, which was like a short album. And there he is. That's like maybe a little bit snippet of the story. And now the character's named Shiny, and apparently the story is that they're going into space.
Yep.
And you know what? If like this is the question that I asked: do you need to understand the story to enjoy the album? I say no. What do you think?
No.
Yeah, and
Like I feel like he was trying to do like maybe a Coherent Cambria thing. But Coherent Cambria they released with the music
a
graphic
comic book,
novel,
yeah, or a
the
graphic novel.
comics. But like you're telling me a story. I was listening to the podcast and you're telling me a story, but I don't feel that story on the songs. Like there, I don't feel a connection. I don't know where the
Yeah,
Zero Shiny is.
I to me like you could tell me the story, and I'm like I didn't get it. So
Yeah, he
and
said it's basically the story of a character through three different stages of his life. Like on the 95 zero, 2000 it's glass, and then now on 2022 it's shiny.
yeah,
Like
but
he said it's sort of psychological metamorphosis of a character over a long period of time.
yeah, deep shit. But I gotta tell you, I gotta be honest. When I was young, I listened to Mellon Collie and Machina, and I had no idea they were concept albums. I just enjoyed the songs.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, I thought they were great. Not after when I was more of an adult, then I knew that they were concept albums. Good, back then maybe I didn't know that much what a concept album was, but the thing with this album is that so it starts with Autumn, and Autumn is like like what they did in Mellon Collie and Machina. They have like an album opener that's like an instrumental, and that instrumental, there's like some same noises. It really sounds like spacey rock.
Hmm.
And it goes with after that with the song Butterfly Suit, which I don't I'll ask you what you thought when the that song starts. He's like, good hello, good morning, son. I just thought of like Billy Corgan waking up, brushing his and being so fucking happy. I didn't think of him being in a spaceship. I just thought of him waking up and being like some happy, shiny people. What did you think about that song?
I read the title and I thought it was gonna be a connection to Buddha with butterfly wings, and then I listened to the song. It's like, what is this?
It's not bad.
Because, like you said, the first song, it's very space rock, very. It reminds me a mix of the David Bowie low, but going to Pink Floyd vibes, like very dark of the dark side of the moon. Like you can feel like okay, and that song create expectations like, oh, I like this song. This song is really good. It's probably one of the best songs they wrote in a long time. And then like crash. Like, what is this?
Yeah, it's different. So let's keep going track by track. Then you have the Good in Goodbye. And that one, like the first 17 seconds, it was so low. When I was listening to first time, I felt like, what's this? I don't hear anything. And then I heard it. I was like, okay.
But you know what that silence is? It's a recording of the first satellite, the Sputnik, the Russian. I didn't know. Like I was listening, and then like silence. It's like, what happened? And did my radio die? The battery, the what? And then it's like, oh no, it's very low. And then starts the song, like. And then
song,
on the podcast, he said that he wanted to use that recording of the Sputnik.
Yeah, but that song, to me, that's my favorite song of the album. I like it because there's guitars on that song,
and the drum,
and the drums.
The drums there. That was my favorite song was the intro. Even though it's a short song and it's instrumental, that was my favorite song. But I really like this one too because of the drums.
Yeah, and I like that one because that one is more like classic Smashing Pumpkins.
Mm-hmm.
Then they go into a song like Embracer, and it gets more electronic on that one.
I appreciate that song because it's like a slower, like I like the backup vocals, the girl singing there. Like I think this song is gonna be a grower. The more you listen, the more you're gonna like it.
Yeah, then they follow it with A Do, I Do, which was a little bit more fast-paced. I felt a little bit of like a country, like vibe to it, with some electronics, but it was okay. What do you thought about that one?
Yeah, I didn't notice the country. I don't know.
Very slight.
Yeah.
Then you go to Hooligan, and Hooligan, it's it's very electronic and happy-go-lucky, but I just thought that the lyrics when he's like singing "ho ho ho hooligan," it was like kind of
hooligan.
And I'm like, hooligan, really? What are you in the 1930s? Like who the hell uses that word?
It sounds silly. And I can respect like you wanted to be silly, but you have to know how to do it.
Yeah, so that one was Then you have Steps in Time, and Steps in Time, there was some more guitar on that one, which I liked. That one reminded me more of Machina with a mix of the Sir album.
Yeah.
What do you think about that one?
Yeah, I like that. It reminds me, like you said, a little bit of Machina. Let me see one.
Yeah. Yeah, it reminded me of Machina, and it had that vibe.
Then it reminded me a little bit also of Psychics.
Oh, yeah.
That other album, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it had that, because remember, Side Guys had like a compressed type of sound, and I remember when it came out, it was criticized.
Yeah.
And the song that follows, When Rain Must Fall, I liked it because I like the Billy Corgan with the girl singing, but like the only problem that I have with that song is, to me, like they repeated like the same chorus like over and over again, like at the end, like the must fall, and they kept like repeating that maybe a little bit too much.
What I didn't like about that song, it's like the constant of the sings. Like, dude, you're over abusing the synths in the whole album, but in this song especially.
Yeah, and you know what? In the album before Sir, there were synth, but I thought this because the songs were more. The word I want to use is more like I remember most of the songs on that one. On this one, not as much. Then you had Beyond the Veil, and Beyond the Veil had more guitars. It was entertaining. Again, like a Machina with Zeitgeist type of vibe for that one. Did you enjoy that one, the Beyond the Veil?
It's weird. It was a weird song.
Yeah, it's
Like,
kind of weird. And now this next one. Oh my God.
oh my god.
Hooray. What the fuck were you thinking, Billy? Like this is hands. I'm saying it right now. I think this is the worst Smashing Pumpkins song ever recorded. Like it's just stupid as fuck. It sounds like a children's song. And when I was listening to the song, I had to pause and said, "Did he just say giddy up?"
Oh yes. Like what the
And I had to rewind.
but you know that I've been watching movies and series and more people are using that phrase. Why are you saying giddy up? No, stop people, stop using that phrase.
Unless you're the cowboy from Toy Story, you should never use that word.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, and that song sounded like Pee Wee Herman's Playhouse on crack.
I was wondering, you know, Billy is a dad now. Is he watching like kids videos with his kids, and that's affecting him, his songwriting, his
and the
songs?
thing
Because it's strange.
that song is number 10. It's almost at the end of the album, and to me, it took me completely out of the fucking album. Like that song, I'm like, oh, there's one more thing after this. The flow is completely
Yeah.
destroyed. I don't know what the song is about. I just saw when I saw the title, I'm like, hooray. I'm like, okay. And then they go into the gold mask, and it was an okay closer. Anything is better after hooray, but for me, hooray, simply that it just simply took me super out of the album. And I can say that this is an album that I had to listen to more times to see what I appreciate it, because at first I was going to give this like a 6 because and I'm like, yeah, let me listen to it more. And on repeated listens, it grew more on me. I appreciated some things of it. What did you think about the last track?
Well, like you said, anything is better after Hooray. It's not a bad song, but I don't feel it's like it's a strong closer.
No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's okay. But the thing is, this is an act one. And I'm still curious to see what Act 2 and Act 3 sound like.
Yeah.
I sincerely hope that there's more variety and more guitar, because if it's like the same sounding thing for 33 songs, I'm gonna be bored. That's that's what I'm gonna say. So now we're gonna give our final thoughts and our rating of Autumn Act 1. So Mari, after repeated listens, what's your verdict?
I think this is an album that you have to listen to like several times, and the more you listen to it, maybe you're gonna like it more, even with Hooray there. But I don't feel like the concept it didn't connect me with the stories that he was telling. And sometimes you don't need the stories or the concept to enjoy the album, but like I feel like it lacks emotion, like it lacks a his emotional side that he had in Mellon Collie, in Siamese and Gish.
Even
Like
in Adore.
I'm sorry?
Even in the Adore album, that was more
Yeah, even in
electronic.
the Adore
Yeah.
album, like And for me, it feels like very pretty, very overthink. Like, dude, and after listening to the podcast, I discovered the problem. Even though you see an old guy, an old Billy Corgan, after, and he didn't say anything like, but me interpreting what he was saying, he's still a little boy looking for approval. You, Billy, you don't need approval of anyone. Like, and why are you trying to get approval? What are you trying to do? Pretty things, modern things.
Yeah.
Do what you know what to do. Like,
Yeah.
enjoy, relax, don't overthink. Like, play with your guitar, with the let the drummer be a drummer. Like, forget about the drum
Yeah.
machine.
Something
And
very interesting that I heard on one of the episodes is that he said uh, that since he thought Mellon Collie and Machina were concept albums and were so popular that he needs now to do concept albums all the time. No, Billy, you don't
no,
need to
you
do
don't need
concept
to.
albums. Yeah.
No. And another thing, when I was listening to the podcast, he said he was talking when he wrote 1979. It's a really nice story how he came to wrote that song. And he said, I'm not that person anymore. And I know I can't write songs like that anymore. No, because when he wrote that song, he said he was in the verge of between being a teenager and an adult. Like when you're there, that period is like really important. Like it gives you something to write. So forget, don't try, and that's why the silly stuff. Don't try to write like a teenager anymore because you're not a teenager anymore. You're an old man. What's next? For me, like the greatest writers like David Bowie, Leonard Cohen, his last albums were great because they know the next thing is that you're old. That yeah, you already live. Like
Yeah.
maybe Billy could
And
learn
he
from.
has, like, if Oceania from 2012 is a massively underrated album. And on that album, he played. That's if you haven't. That's an album of that. That's the last album of Smashing Pumpkins that I loved. And people didn't talk about it that much. And on that one, it sounded more guitars. It sounded good. But after that, he's gone more with the electronics, and I think he's over abusing. And he
Yes.
gets Jimmy Chamberlain in the band. James Iha. Like everyone wants you just to play what you used to play. Like just
Exactly.
like do it. Like why do you have such a great drummer if you're not using him?
Yeah.
And but the thing is, I had no expectations, and you can't go into this album thinking that it's going to be like Mellon Collie. So I think Billy Corgan he shouldn't say like that this is a follow-up to those albums because, like I said at the beginning of the video, you're creating expectations for the
Even if it
fans.
was, don't say it.
Yeah, don't say it. Just it would, what it would be cool
People
if
will
the
catch up
fans say.
if it really
But
is.
it's like Metallica would do an album now and die. This is the follow-up. This is the Black Album too. No,
No.
you don't say that. So to me, yeah, I enjoyed some parts of the album,
Yeah.
but it was an album that it was like it was a hard pill to swallow. I had to like take a lot of water to
I
swallow it
wonder
down.
how it will play live. Like,
Yes,
will they change it? Will they play more upbeat, more harder? Like, one of the things I like about Smashing, it was like their play, they used to like a bridge between alternative metal, the God sounds. Um, like, I
everything.
wonder how this new music will play live.
Yeah, like I think, like you said, the main problems I have with this album is that I don't feel Billy's pain or like the emotion like I used to feel. I feel like it's more like he's like the Smashing Pumpkins on out of control.
Yeah.
We're just putting out songs, and some are good, but none of them, not even the best song here, is better than the worst song on Mellon Collie, and that's a lot of things. So now let's give it a score because What would you
I
rate
think
this
I
from
think
1
for
to 10?
now, for me, it's a 7.
Yeah. So me listening to the album on repeated, I was like, yeah, and I have to agree with you. I listened to it more, and it's a 7 out of 10. You know, it's not bad. It's not a bad album. It has some
No.
good points, but also it's not super great. I wish that they would like do more of what they used to do. Like even in Adore had electronics, but it had guitar too.
Yeah.
So I just think like now like he's overusing like too much synth, and like a lot of the songs sounds the same, sadly.
Yeah.
They sound the same. So there's hardly like a song that you can get like, oh my god, this is a standout track. Only the good for the third one was the only one that I like more, and it's not like I super love it, but it was the one that I listened to
Yeah.
the I enjoyed the most. And I thought that the album opener was interesting as well, like you said. So yeah, those are our thoughts on the Smashing Pumpkins Autumn Act One. So people, if you like the videos that we're putting out, don't forget to give me a like. Don't forget to subscribe. We also talked about Mellon Collie and the Infinite Sadness, and I'm gonna put it somewhere around here so you can go and see that video and see how much we praise that album.
And we'll see you
So
in January for Act 2.
yes, and we'll see you in January for Act Two, and of course, then we'll have to do Act Three. And I think that when we do Act Three, we'll have to like say how it like when we get the full picture, because
The full.
I wouldn't call these albums. I would call them like EPs, 3 EPs that make one
Album.
33 long album. I gotta say, I gotta commend Billy. You know, it's an ambitious project. You know, he's an ambitious guy, and not a lot of people right now would dare put a 33 song rock opera, because the attention span is low. So at least you know the intentions are there. But I'm glad that he's dividing it and not giving everything like 33 songs. That's too
Yeah.
much.
That's the
But people, if you haven't subscribed to me, and also subscribe to Señorita Sabrosura, and we're almost at the end of the year. I have a little more interviews and some album reviews for this weekend. You'll get the new Disturbed album review, and I'm also going to review the new Avandra, a prog metal band from Puerto Rico. So until next time, people, this is Hector, the Shield on a Couch.
Señorita Sabrosura.
And we'll see you right here next on another album review. Thank you and good night.